She was born into a world of silk ribbons and champagne receptions, where every smile was calculated and every relationship came with a price tag. He was the man the headlines called her charity project, a single father whose quiet dignity threatened everything her family had built on image and control. What started with one photograph and one act of kindness would become a battlefield of gossip, family pressure, and a choice that would cost her everything she'd been raised to protect. But when a 7-year-old's trust and a rooftop confession collided with tabloid lies and her mother's ultimatum, Charlotte Winfield would have to answer the question that would define her life. Was ordinary love worth losing an extraordinary legacy? If you're watching this, hit subscribe and tell me where you're watching from, because this story about choosing your own path will stay with you long after it ends. The afternoon sun poured through the tall windows of the Winfield Hotel's new cafe, turning everything gold. Charlotte Winfield, Lottie to anyone who'd known her longer than 5 minutes, stood near the silk ribbon stretched across the doorway and tried to remember to smile. Her mother had chosen the dress, cream linen, elegant, safe. The photographers loved it. Lottie felt like a mannequin. "Miss Winfield, just one more." A camera clicked, then another. She turned, keeping her shoulders back the way her mother had taught her. Poise, always poise. The cafe was beautiful. Reclaimed wood tables, soft lighting, fresh flowers on every surface. Her family's newest project, their smallest hotel yet, tucked into a quiet Boston neighborhood instead of downtown. It was supposed to feel warm, accessible, real. Lottie wasn't sure her family knew what real meant anymore. "We're ready for the ribbon cutting," Tomas said, appearing at her elbow. He'd been her friend since college, back before he became the family's PR manager and started dressing like he was running for office. Today, he wore a navy suit and a tight smile. "Let's get this over with," Lottie murmured. "It's good press. Your mother will be pleased." Lottie didn't answer. She lifted the oversized scissors, posed for more photos, and snipped the ribbon in half. Applause rippled through the small crowd. A server immediately began seating the first guests. Local business owners, a few journalists, people her mother had handpicked for their influence. Then things started to go wrong. A young server, maybe 19, rushed toward a table near the window. A black man sat there alone, looking at his phone. He wore jeans and a clean gray Henley, work boots with scuff marks on the toes. He didn't belong to her mother's carefully curated guest list. "Sir, I'm sorry, but this seating is reserved for..." "For what?" The man looked up. His voice was calm, but Lottie saw the tension in his jaw. "I've been waiting since you opened the doors." "I understand, but we have a private event." Lottie was moving. Before she thought about it, she touched the server's shoulder, gentle but firm. "It's fine, Marco. I'll handle this." Marco blinked at her, confused, then backed away. Lottie turned to the man at the table. Up close, she noticed things. The tiredness around his eyes. The careful way he'd folded his jacket over the chair. The phone case held together with clear tape. He met her gaze without flinching. "I'm sorry about that," Lottie said. "You were here first. This table is yours." "I can go." He started to stand. "Please don't." The words came out more forceful than she meant. She softened her voice. "Really, I'd like you to stay." He studied her face for a long moment. Whatever he saw there made him sit back down. Lottie pulled out the chair across from him and sat. Behind her, she heard Tomas make a small noise of alarm. Cameras started clicking again, faster now. She ignored them. "I'm Lottie," she said. "Marcus." He didn't offer his hand. "You didn't have to do that." "I wanted to." She glanced at the menu, then back at him. "Have you ordered?" "Not yet." "The coffee's supposed to be incredible. It's from a roaster in Cambridge. Small batch, Fair trade, the whole thing. She was talking too much, the way she did when she was nervous. I haven't tried it yet. First day and all? Marcus almost smiled. Almost. You own this place? My family does. I just show up and cut ribbons, apparently. This time he did smile, small and quick. It changed his whole face. A different server appeared. Older, more experienced. She took their order without comment. 2 coffees, black. Marcus ordered a blueberry muffin. When the server left, Lottie saw him check his phone again. Expecting a call? She asked. My daughter. She's at art club after school. Should be done soon. How old? 7. His voice gentled when he talked about her. Her name's Mia. That's a beautiful name. Her mother picked it. He said it simply, without emotion, but Lottie heard the story underneath. Single dad, doing his best. The coffee arrived. It was good. Rich and smooth, exactly what the roaster had promised. They drank in comfortable silence while the cafe hummed around them. Lottie watched Marcus relax by inches. His shoulders dropped. His grip on the cup loosened. You live around here? Lottie asked. Few blocks over. I work in the building on Ash Street, superintendent. Fix things, keep things running. That's important work. He gave her a look that said he'd heard plenty of people pretend to think so. It pays the bills. I mean it, Lottie said. I couldn't fix a leaky faucet if my life depended on it. You'd call someone. I'd call someone like you. Marcus huffed a small laugh. Yeah, probably. The door chimed. A little girl came in, backpack bouncing, clutching a yellow folder to her chest. She had the same warm brown skin as Marcus, the same serious eyes. When she spotted him, her face lit up. Daddy! Marcus stood, and his whole posture changed, opened up, softened. Hey, baby, how was art club? Good. Mia dropped her backpack and held up the folder. I made 3 drawings. Miss Chen said one was gallery quality. What's gallery quality? Means it's really, really good. Marcus pulled out a chair for her, then glanced at Lottie. Mia, this is Miss Lottie. We're having coffee. Mia looked at Lottie with open curiosity. Hi. Hi, Mia. Your dad told me you're an artist. I like drawing. Mia climbed into her chair and opened the folder carefully, like it held treasure. Wanna see? I'd love to. Mia laid 3 pieces of construction paper on the table. The drawings were good, really good for a 7-year-old. Bold lines, careful shading, a sense of movement. One showed a girl on a swing, hair flying. Another showed a bus with detailed wheels and windows. The third was a portrait, a man's face, strong and kind. Is that your dad? Lottie asked. Mia nodded, proud. You got his smile exactly right. Marcus looked at the drawing, then at his daughter. His expression did something complicated. Love and sadness and fierce protection all at once. Can I get juice? Mia asked. Apple or orange? Apple, please. Marcus flagged down the server. While they waited, Mia pulled crayons from her backpack and started a new drawing on a paper napkin. Lottie watched her work, struck by the girl's focus. She's got talent, Lottie said quietly. She gets it from her mother, Marcus said. Kendra was always creative. Is creative? Sorry, she's still around, just not with us. Lottie heard the weight behind those words, the history. That must be hard. We manage. He sipped his coffee. Mia's happy. That's what matters. The juice arrived. Mia drank half of it in one go, then returned to her drawing. Marcus pulled out his wallet, worn leather, held together with a rubber band. He counted out bills for the coffee and muffin. It's on the house, Lottie said quickly. No, thank you. Marcus set the money on the table. I pay my way. She understood. Pride wasn't about money. It was about dignity. Okay. He nodded, satisfied. Outside, the light was starting to fade. Golden hour sliding into dusk. Marcus checked his phone again. We should go. Homework before dinner. Of course. Lottie stood. It was really nice meeting you both. You too. Marcus helped Mia pack up her crayons. The little girl clutched her folder and backpack, then looked up at Lottie. Bye, Miss Lottie. Bye, Mia. They walked toward the door. Lottie watched them go, feeling something strange and warm in her chest. She couldn't name it, didn't try. Tomas materialized beside her. That was unexpected. I like them. Lottie. His voice held a warning. Do you know how many photos were just taken? I don't care. Your mother will. Lottie turned to face him. Then she can talk to me about it. She walked outside, needing air. The street was quieter now, most of the crowd dispersed. She saw Marcus and Mia, half a block away, hand in hand under the streetlights. Then she noticed the yellow folder on the ground near the cafe door. Mia must have dropped it. Lottie grabbed it and ran. Marcus! Wait! He turned, alert. When he saw the folder, relief crossed his face. Mia, you dropped this, Lottie said, slightly breathless. Oh no! Mia took the folder and hugged it to her chest. Thank you. No problem. Lottie smiled. Guard those drawings. They're special. Marcus met her eyes. Something passed between them. Gratitude, recognition, a question neither of them was ready to ask. Thank you, he said. Anytime. A camera clicked somewhere behind her. Lottie heard it, but didn't turn. She was too busy watching Marcus and Mia walk away, their silhouettes growing smaller against the darkening sky. By the time Lottie got back inside, Tomas was pacing near the bar, phone pressed to his ear. He saw her and hung up. We need to talk. Now? Now? He led her to the back office, small, windowless, smelling of fresh paint. He pulled up his phone and showed her the screen. It was a photo of her and Marcus at the table, both holding coffee cups. The caption read, Winfield heiress takes pity on local man. Charity date or PR stunt? Lottie's stomach dropped. That's not what happened. I know that, you know that, but this is the story people will share. Tomas scrolled through more posts. The comments were worse than the captions. People assuming, people judging, people reducing Marcus to a prop in her family's narrative. We need to release a statement, Tomas said. Something simple. You were greeting guests, being hospitable. No. Lottie. I'm not releasing a statement that makes him sound like a problem to explain away. Her voice came out sharper than she meant. He's a person. His daughter is 7. They came in for coffee. And you sat with him for 20 minutes while cameras rolled. Because I wanted to. Tomas rubbed his face. Your mother is going to call any minute. Let her. You're not thinking this through. By morning, they'll label him your charity case. They'll dig into his life. If there's anything... Stop. Lottie held up a hand. Just stop. I don't want to spin this. I don't want to issue statements or control narratives. I want to treat people like people. That's not how this works. Then maybe it should work differently. Tomas stared at her. For a moment, she saw her old friend underneath the PR polish. The guy who used to help her sneak out of Gallus to get pizza, who once told her she deserved to choose her own life. I'll hold off the statement for tonight, he said finally. But Lottie, this isn't over. This is just starting. She nodded, tired suddenly. I know. Across the city, Marcus unlocked the door to their apartment and flipped on the lights. Mia dropped her backpack by the couch and ran to the kitchen. Can I have crackers? After you hang up your jacket. She groaned but obeyed, then returned for her snack. Marcus pulled out the folder and looked through her drawings again while she crunched through saltines. "Miss Lottie was nice," Mia said. "Yeah, she was." "Is she your friend now?" Marcus hesitated. "I don't know, baby. Maybe." His phone buzzed, a notification from a news app he barely used. He opened it and felt his chest tighten. The photo showed him and Lottie outside the cafe, her handing back the folder. The angle made it look intimate, staged. The headline read, "Heiress plays savior to struggling single dad." Marcus read the article. It was short, speculative, mean in the way only gossip could be. It called him unidentified and likely homeless. It questioned Lottie's motives. It made their simple moment into a transaction. "Daddy, what's wrong?" He looked up. Mia was watching him with worried eyes. "Nothing, sweetheart, just work stuff." He powered off the phone and shoved it in a drawer. "Let's get started on homework." But later, after Mia was asleep, Marcus stood in the kitchen and stared at the dark phone. He thought about Lottie's kindness. The way she'd looked at Mia's drawings like they mattered. The way she'd run after them to return the folder. He thought about the article, the assumptions, the way it painted him as something less than whole. He wanted to believe one genuine moment could stand against the noise. He wasn't sure he did. Lottie lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling of her apartment. It was too big, too quiet, decorated by someone her mother had hired. Everything matched. Nothing felt like hers. She thought about Marcus's face when he insisted on paying. The careful way he'd counted out those bills. She thought about Mia's drawings, the girl's easy trust. She thought about the photo, the captions, the machine already working to twist something simple into something ugly. Her phone sat on the nightstand, silenced. She knew there were messages waiting, from her mother, from Tomas, maybe from people she hadn't talked to in years, suddenly interested because she'd made the news. She didn't reach for it. Instead, she closed her eyes and remembered the moment on the sidewalk. Marcus saying thank you, Mia hugging the folder, the streetlights casting long shadows. It had felt real. She wanted to keep it that way. The next morning arrived cold and gray. Lottie woke to 17 missed calls and twice as many texts. She ignored them all, got dressed in jeans and a sweater, her own choices, not her mother's, and drove to Ash Street. Marcus's building was older, red brick with white trim that needed repainting. The kind of place where people actually lived, not just stayed. She found a parking spot and sat in her car for 5 minutes, trying to figure out what to say. "I'm sorry" felt too simple. "Don't believe what they wrote" sounded defensive. "Can we try again?" Presumed too much. Finally, she grabbed the pencil from her cup holder, the one that had fallen from Mia's folder yesterday, and got out of the car. The lobby was small but clean. A bulletin board showed apartment numbers, maintenance requests, a flyer for a lost cat. Lottie pressed the buzzer for the superintendent's office. No answer. She tried again. Still nothing. "He's probably in the basement," a voice said behind her. Lottie turned. An older woman stood there, grocery bags in both hands. She had deep brown skin, silver hair in a neat bun, and eyes that assessed Lottie in one sweep. "The basement?" Lottie asked. "Boiler's been acting up. Marcus has been down there since 6. The woman shifted her bags. "You a friend of his?" Yes, I think so." The woman's expression softened slightly. "Basement stairs are through that door to the left. Watch your step." "Thank you." Lottie found the stairs and descended into warmth and the smell of heating oil. The basement was surprisingly organized. Tools on pegboards, supplies on labeled shelves, everything in its place. She heard clanking from around the corner. Marcus? The clanking stopped. He appeared a moment later, wrench in hand, grease smudge on his cheek. When he saw her, surprise flashed across his face, then wariness. Lottie. Hi. She held up the pencil like a peace offering. This fell out of Mia's folder. I wanted to return it. He wiped his hands on a rag and took the pencil. You drove here for this? And to apologize. For the attention, the article, all of it. Marcus studied the pencil, then set it on his workbench. You didn't write it. No, but it happened because of me? Because you were nice to a stranger? He shook his head. That's not your fault. It feels like it. They stood in the basement quiet, the boiler humming between them. Lottie noticed details, the careful organization, the worn tools that were obviously well maintained, the radio on the shelf tuned to a news station. This is a good space, she said. It works. Marcus picked up the wrench again, then set it down. Look, I appreciate you coming by, but we're fine. Mia didn't see the article. Nobody bothered us. That's good. So you don't need to worry about us. The words were gentle but firm, a boundary being set. Okay, Lottie said. Then, because she couldn't help it. Does the offer for coffee still stand, sometime? Marcus opened his mouth to answer, but footsteps echoed on the stairs. The older woman from the lobby appeared, slightly breathless. Marcus, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Mrs. Chen wanted me to catch you before you disappeared again. She smiled at him with real warmth. She wanted to say thank you for Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve? Lottie asked. The woman turned to her. Boiler died Christmas Eve 2 years ago. 20 degrees outside, building full of families. Marcus spent 14 hours down here getting it working again. Missed his own Christmas morning. Marcus looked uncomfortable. Just doing my job. You saved Christmas for 30 families, the woman said firmly. That's more than a job. She nodded to Lottie, then headed back upstairs. Lottie looked at Marcus with new eyes. The article had called him struggling, had implied he needed saving, but this man had saved others, quietly, without fanfare. You didn't mention that yesterday, she said. Didn't come up. He picked up a clean rag and wiped the grease from his hands more thoroughly. It's just what you do. Things break. You fix them. Not everyone would give up Christmas morning. Mia understood. We did presents that afternoon. His voice carried no resentment, just fact. She was 6. We made it work. Lottie felt something shift in her chest. This man wasn't a project, wasn't charity. He was someone who showed up, did hard things, took care of people. The coffee offer, Marcus said slowly. Maybe, but no cameras, no handlers, just normal. Normal sounds perfect. I've got a few more hours down here, then I pick up Mia at 3. There's a food truck market on Porter Street this afternoon, Lottie said. Low key, no reservations. Would you and Mia want to meet me there, around 4? Marcus considered. She could see him weighing risks, thinking about his daughter, deciding if trust was possible. 4 o'clock, he said finally. We'll be there. Lottie left the building feeling lighter than she had in months. She sat in her car and pulled out her phone. The messages were overwhelming. Her mother's getting progressively more urgent. Tomas's mixing concern with strategy. A few from old friends curious about the guy from the photo. She deleted most without reading and texted Tomas. Taking the day off. Don't schedule anything. His response came immediately. Your mother wants to meet tomorrow. Fine. Tomorrow. She drove to the boutique hotel and slipped into her office through the side entrance. At her desk, she found an unwrapped set of drawing pencils, 24 colors, professional quality but not flashy. She wrote Mia's name on a sticky note and left the set with the front desk. If a little girl comes in asking about these, they're hers, Lottie told Marco, the young server from yesterday. Don't make a big deal, just give them to her. Marco nodded, still looking nervous around her. She needed to fix that too. Needed people to see her as a person, not just the boss's daughter. But that was a problem for another day. At 3:45, Lottie stood near the taco truck at Porter Street Market, trying not to check her phone every 30 seconds. The market was busy but not crowded. Families, couples, a few people alone with books. String lights hung between food trucks even though the sun was still up. The smell of grilled meat and corn tortillas filled the air. She saw them coming from half a block away. Marcus had changed into clean jeans and a dark blue jacket. Mia wore a purple coat and carried a small backpack covered in cartoon cats. When the girl spotted Lottie, she waved. "Hi, Miss Lottie." "Hi, Mia." Lottie crouched down to her level. "Are you hungry?" "So hungry. Art club? Doesn't have snacks." "Then we should fix that. What sounds good?" They walked between the trucks, reading menus painted on colorful boards. Mia chose tacos. 1 chicken, 1 cheese. Marcus got beef. Lottie ordered fish tacos and immediately regretted it when the hot sauce made her eyes water. "Too spicy?" Marcus asked, almost smiling. "I'm fine," Lottie gasped, grabbing for her water. Mia giggled. "Daddy says white people can't handle spice." "Mia," Marcus said, but he was definitely smiling now. "It's true, though," Lottie admitted, wiping her eyes. "This white person definitely can't." They found a picnic table under a tree. Mia pulled out a coloring book and crayons from her backpack and spread them on the table. She worked on a page showing a castle while she ate, totally focused. "She always does 2 things at once," Marcus explained. "Can't just eat. Can't just draw." "I can multitask," Mia said seriously, not looking up. Lottie laughed. She picked up a green crayon. "Mind if I help?" Mia pushed the book toward her. "You can do the trees." They colored in comfortable silence. Marcus finished his tacos and leaned back, watching them. Lottie felt his gaze but didn't feel judged by it. He seemed to be reassessing her, the same way she'd reassessed him in the basement. "Thank you for the pencils," Marcus said quietly. Lottie looked up, startled. "How did you know?" "Desk manager called me. Said a woman matching your description left them with Mia's name." He paused. That was thoughtful. "They were just pencils." "They were $40. Lottie set down the crayon. "I didn't mean to overstep. She's an artist. Artists need good tools. I was going to buy her a set for her birthday." "I'm sorry. I should have asked." "No." Marcus shook his head. "That came out wrong. I'm trying to say thank you. It was a kind gesture." Mia was excited. "Miss Chen said they were professional level," Mia reported, still coloring. "She said I should take care of them." "Will you?" Lottie asked. "Yes." Mia looked up, solemn. "I already put them in my special drawer." The market filled with early dinner crowds. Music drifted from a nearby truck, something acoustic and easy. Lottie watched families come and go, friends laughing over shared plates, old couples walking hand in hand. This was normal. This was real. "I talked to my publicist," Lottie said. "Tomas, he won't issue any statements about yesterday unless you want him to." Marcus tensed slightly. "What kind of statements?" "The kind that try to control the story. I told him no. What happened yesterday was just what happened. 2 people having coffee. It doesn't need explaining. Your family might not agree. They don't have to." He studied her face. "You're going to get pressure." "Probably. Is it worth it? For tacos with strangers?" Lottie looked at Mia's bent head, her careful coloring. She looked at Marcus's guarded expression, the way he held himself ready to leave if needed. "You're not strangers," she said. "Not anymore." Something shifted in Marcus's posture, not quite relaxing, but close. "Okay," he said softly. They stayed until the lights started to fade. Mia filled 7 pages of her coloring book and declared them all gallery quality. Marcus bought her a small cup of mango sorbet from the dessert truck. Lottie told stories about the worst galas she'd attended. The rubber chicken, the 3-hour speeches, the time someone's hairpiece fell into the punch bowl. Mia laughed until she hiccuped. When they finally walked toward the parking area, Mia reached up and took Lottie's hand without asking. The gesture was so natural, so trusting, that Lottie's breath caught. Marcus saw it happen. Their eyes met over his daughter's head. "She doesn't usually do that," he said quietly. "Warm up to people so fast." "Is it okay?" "Yeah, it's okay." They reached the corner where Marcus's beat-up Honda sat next to Lottie's much newer sedan. A car pulled up to the curb, black, expensive, a driver in the front seat. Lottie's driver, sent by someone at the hotel tracking her location. She looked at the car, then at Marcus and Mia, then back at the car. "1 second," she told them. She walked to the driver's window. "James, thank you for coming, but I'm fine getting home on my own." "Miss Winfield, your mother requested—" "Please tell her I'll call her tonight. I don't need a ride." James hesitated, then nodded. The car pulled away. When Lottie turned back, Marcus was watching her with something like respect. "You just dismissed a driver," he said. "I have 2 working legs and a car." "Still, that was something." Mia yawned, leaning against her father's leg. Marcus scooped her up easily. She rested her head on his shoulder, already half asleep. "I should get her home," he said. "Homework and bath before bed." "Of course." Lottie smiled at Mia's drowsy face. "Thanks for coming." "Thank you for inviting us." They stood at the crosswalk under a street lamp just beginning to glow. The sky had turned deep blue, stars starting to appear. "Can we do this again?" Lottie asked. "Maybe next weekend?" Marcus adjusted his grip on Mia. "Maybe. Let's see how the week goes." "Fair enough." The light changed. Marcus started across the street, then stopped and looked back. "Lottie?" "Yeah?" "I had a good time. Both of us did." "Me too." He nodded once, then continued across. Lottie watched them reach the other side, Marcus carrying his daughter like she weighed nothing, Mia's purple coat bright against the darkening sky. She got in her car and sat for a moment before starting the engine. Her phone buzzed. Her mother, then Tomas. Then a number she didn't recognize, probably a journalist. She silenced it all and drove home with the windows down, the cool evening air washing over her, and for the first time in months, she felt like she was moving toward something instead of just maintaining the life she'd been given. The next evening, Lottie sat at her family's dining room table and tried not to fidget. Her mother, Evelyn Winfield, sat at the head, perfectly dressed as always. Tomas sat to Lottie's right, legal pad in front of him, pen ready. "Let's begin," Evelyn said, her voice cool and controlled. "I assume you've seen the photos?" "I've seen them." "And the commentary?" "Some of it." Evelyn set down her wine glass. "This is not how we conduct ourselves, Charlotte. We don't insert ourselves into other people's narratives. We don't provide ammunition for tabloids. I had coffee with someone, then tacos. That's not a scandal. It is when cameras are involved." Evelyn's tone sharpened. "It is when the man in question is what?" Lottie interrupted. "Black? Working class? A single father?" All of which makes the optics complicated. Optics. Lottie felt heat rising in her chest. "That's what we're worried about? Optics?" We're worried about perception, Tomas said carefully. Your mother isn't saying Marcus is a problem. She's saying the situation requires management, Evelyn finished. Discretion. The family has worked decades to build a reputation. One careless friendship can undermine that. Lottie looked at her mother, the woman who'd taught her to sit up straight, to shake hands firmly, to never let anyone see her cry. The woman who loved her in her own controlled way, but had never quite understood her. What if I don't care about perception? Lottie asked quietly. Silence fell over the table. You should care, Evelyn said finally. The family name opens doors. It creates opportunities. It carries weight. You can't simply discard that because you've decided to befriend some. She caught herself. Someone outside our usual circles. He has a name, Marcus Reed. His daughter is Mia. They're good people. I'm sure they are, but good people and appropriate associations are not always the same thing. Lottie stood up. Her chair scraped against the hardwood. I need some air. She walked out before anyone could respond, through the kitchen and into the coat room. Her hands shook as she reached for her jacket. She pulled out her phone and opened a new text to Marcus. Today was rough. Tacos again sometime? Her thumb hovered over send. But what would that do to him? To Mia? If her family was already worried about perception? If tabloids were already writing stories, what would more time together bring down on them? She deleted the text unsent and slid the phone back into her pocket. In the dining room, she heard Tomas's voice, low and urgent. Then her mother's response, too quiet to make out. Lottie put on her jacket and walked out the side door into the cold night, breathing hard, feeling trapped and angry and scared all at once. Behind her, in the dining room, Evelyn stared at her wine glass and said nothing at all. Thursday afternoon, Lottie walked into the elementary school gym and immediately felt out of place. Parents filled the folding chairs, holding phones and cameras. Kids' artwork covered every wall. Paintings, collages, clay sculptures on tables. A hand-painted banner read, Spring Art Fair. She'd found the flyer on the hotel's community board that morning. Mia's school, tonight. She'd come without texting Marcus first, unsure if she'd even stay. She found a seat in the back corner, away from the clusters of chatting parents. On the small stage, a teacher was organizing students by grade. Lottie scanned the crowd and found Marcus near the front, phone raised to record. He wore the same blue jacket from the food trucks, looking slightly uncomfortable in the sea of parents. Then she spotted Mia, standing with other second graders near a display table. The little girl wore a yellow dress and white tights, her hair in 2 puffs tied with ribbons. She looked nervous, shifting from foot to foot. The program started. Kindergarteners went first, showing finger paintings. Then first grade, then second. When Mia's turn came, she stepped forward, holding something small. This is a bookmark, Mia said into the microphone, her voice tiny but steady. I made it with markers and laminated it myself. It cost $3. She held it up. Even from the back, Lottie could see the careful detail. Flowers and vines, a bird perched on a branch, Mia's signature at the bottom in proud letters. All my art is for sale, Mia continued. The money goes to the animal shelter. Thank you. She returned to her spot, and the next child stepped up. But Lottie was already moving, weaving through the rows toward the display table. The bookmark sat among Mia's other pieces. Drawings, a painted rock, a clay cat. Lottie picked up the bookmark and studied it closely. The work was remarkable. Each petal had shading. The bird's feathers had individual lines. Can I help you? A parent volunteer appeared beside the table. I'd like to buy this. Lottie held up the bookmark. $3. Lottie pulled out her wallet and handed over the bills. The volunteer dropped them in a cash box and gave her the bookmark in a small plastic sleeve. Beautiful choice. That little girl has real talent. She does, Lottie agreed. She turned and nearly bumped into Marcus. He'd made his way over while she was distracted. Lottie. Surprise crossed his face. I didn't know you were here. I saw the flyer. I hope it's okay that I came. Yeah, of course. He glanced at the bookmark in her hand. You bought Mia's? It's the best one here. Something warm flickered in his expression. She worked on it for weeks. It shows. Mia bounded over, slightly breathless. Daddy, did you see? I didn't mess up. You were perfect, baby. Marcus pulled her into a hug. Then Mia noticed Lottie. Her eyes went wide. Miss Lottie, you came! I wouldn't miss it, and I bought your bookmark. It's going to live in my favorite book. Really? Mia's whole face lit up. Really? You're very talented, Mia. Other parents milled around the display tables buying artwork, congratulating kids. Marcus kept glancing at them, at Lottie, like he was calculating something. Do you need a ride somewhere? He asked quietly. I saw you came alone. I drove, but thank you. We were going to grab burgers on the way home. Nothing fancy, just the diner on Oak Street. You want to come? Lottie felt her heart lift. I'd love to. The diner was exactly what Marcus promised. Vinyl booths, a jukebox in the corner, a laminated menu sticky with years of use. They slid into a booth near the window. Mia immediately grabbed crayons from the kid's cup and started drawing on her paper placemat. She never stops, Marcus said, half apologetic. Why would she? Lottie watched Mia's focused expression. She's good at it. The waitress came, an older woman with a smoker's rasp and a kind smile. They ordered burgers for Marcus and Mia, a grilled cheese for Lottie. Chocolate shakes all around. I'm glad you came tonight, Marcus said after the waitress left. Mia was nervous about the presentation. She did great, very professional. She practiced with me every night this week. He smiled at his daughter. Wanted the words exactly right. Miss Chen says presentation matters? Mia reported, not looking up from her drawing. Artists have to talk about their work. Smart teacher, Lottie said. The food arrived fast and hot. They ate and talked. Easy conversation about nothing important. Mia's favorite subjects, art and recess. Marcus's work week, a broken elevator, a wasp nest in the laundry room. Lottie's quiet rebellion of wearing jeans to a board meeting. Your mother didn't approve? Marcus guessed. My mother thinks jeans belong at picnics, not presentations. What do you think? I think comfort matters more than she admits. Marcus studied her. You're different than I expected. How so? Less polished, I guess. More real. Is that good or bad? Good, he said simply. Definitely good. Mia finished her burger and returned to her drawing. Lottie watched the little girl work, thinking about the bookmark now safely tucked in her purse. Can I ask you something? Lottie said to Marcus. Sure. Why did you invite me tonight? To the diner? Marcus took a sip of his shake, considering. Because you showed up to the art fair. You didn't text first or make it a big thing. You just came. That mattered. I wanted to support Mia. I know. That's why I invited you. Simple honesty. No games. Lottie felt something settle in her chest. Relief, maybe, or recognition. I'm trying to figure out how to do this, she admitted. Be around you both without making things complicated. Things are already complicated. I know, but I don't want to make them worse. Then don't. Marcus met her eyes. Just be honest. Show up or don't. Say what you mean. Mia and we're simple people. We don't do well with hidden agendas. I don't have one. An agenda. I'm starting to believe that. The waitress dropped off the check. Marcus reached for it, but Lottie was faster. "My treat," she said. "Lottie, please, you bought tacos. Let me get burgers." He hesitated, then nodded. "Okay, but next time is mine." "Deal." Outside, the parking lot was quiet. Streetlights cast orange pools on the asphalt. Mia yawned and leaned against her father's leg. "Someone's tired," Marcus said, smoothing her hair. "I'm not tired," Mia protested through another yawn. Lottie crouched down. "Thank you for letting me join you tonight, Mia. I had a really good time." "Me too." Mia wrapped her arms around Lottie's neck in a sudden hug. "You're nice, Miss Lottie." Lottie hugged her back, careful and warm. When she stood, Marcus was watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. "Good night," he said softly. "Good night." She watched them walk to Marcus's car, the little girl's hand in her father's, both of them illuminated by the diner's neon sign. Before getting in, Marcus looked back and raised his hand in a small wave. Lottie waved back. She sat in her car for a long moment before starting the engine, the bookmark on the passenger seat beside her, and thought about Marcus's words. Just be honest. Show up or don't. It sounded so simple. She wanted it to be. Friday morning, Lottie woke to her phone buzzing insistently. She grabbed it, squinting at the screen. Tomas had sent 3 texts and a link. The link opened to a gossip site. A new photo, her and Marcus at the diner last night, visible through the window. The headline read, "Iris Funds Special Friend, Dinner Date or Charity Handout." The article was worse than the headline. It called Marcus a beneficiary of Winfield generosity. It speculated about money changing hands. It reduced their entire evening to a transaction. Lottie's stomach turned. She called Tomas. He answered on the first ring. "You saw it," he said. "How did they even know we were there?" "Someone recognized you. Took a photo through the window. It's already circulating." "This is ridiculous. We had burgers." "I know. But Lottie, this is escalating. People are writing narratives. Your mother wants to release a statement." "No." "Clarifying the nature of your relationship." "Tomas, no. We're not doing that." "Then what are we doing?" "Because right now, the story is that you're some wealthy savior, and he's your project." Lottie closed her eyes. "Have you talked to Marcus?" "Why would I talk to Marcus?" "Because he's the one being dragged through this. Not just me." Silence on the line. "Call me if you change your mind about the statement," Tomas said finally, and hung up. Lottie threw on clothes and drove to Ash Street. She found Marcus in the lobby, checking the mailboxes. He saw her, and his expression shuddered. "You've seen it," she said. "Hard to miss. Mrs. Chen from 4B showed me on her tablet this morning." "I'm so sorry." "Why are you apologizing?" His voice was calm, but cold. "You didn't write it." "But it happened because..." "Because what? Because you bought my kid a burger?" He closed the mailbox harder than necessary. "I pay for things, Lottie. I work. I support my daughter. I'm not some charity case." "I know that. Do you?" He turned to face her fully. "Because the whole world seems to think I'm living off your generosity. They're calling me your project, like I'm something you're fixing. That's not true. But that's the story." Marcus's jaw tightened. "And stories stick. Stories follow you." Mia's teacher saw the article, asked if everything was okay at home. Like suddenly, my daughter might not be safe because some stranger decided I'm struggling. Lottie felt her chest constrict. "Marcus, I never meant..." "I know you didn't, but intent doesn't matter when people are already writing the ending." He picked up his toolbox from beside the mailboxes. "I need to get to work." "Can we talk about this?" "What's there to say? You're trying to be kind. I'm trying to live my life. Those two things don't mix well when cameras are watching. He started toward the basement stairs, then stopped. The bookmark, he said, not looking at her. Mia keeps asking if you're going to keep it in your favorite book. She's excited about that. I am keeping it there. I promised. Good. He finally met her eyes. She trusts you. Don't make me regret letting that happen. He disappeared down the stairs before Lottie could respond. She stood in the empty lobby, the weight of his words settling over her like a heavy coat. She'd wanted to help, wanted to be a friend. Instead, she'd brought chaos into their quiet life. Her phone buzzed. Her mother. We need to talk. Today. Lottie silenced it and walked back to her car, her hands shaking. That evening, Lottie sat alone in her apartment with a glass of wine she wasn't drinking. The bookmark lay on her coffee table, still in its plastic sleeve. She'd pulled out her favorite book, a worn copy of poetry she'd had since college, but couldn't bring herself to put the bookmark inside. What if Marcus was right? What if kindness wasn't enough when the whole world was determined to misread it? She thought about Mia's trust, the way the little girl had hugged her. You're nice, Miss Lottie. She thought about Marcus's face in the lobby, the hurt underneath his anger. Her phone sat silent beside her, messages from Tomas and her mother unanswered. She'd turned off the news alerts, unable to stomach more articles dissecting her life. Outside her window, the city glittered, millions of lives being lived, millions of stories being written. Most of them never made the news. Most people fell in love, made friends, had coffee without the world weighing in. Why couldn't she? Because of the last name, because of the money, because somewhere along the way, she'd stopped being a person and become a symbol of something she never asked to represent. Lottie picked up the bookmark and traced its careful lines with her finger. Each petal, each feather. Hours of work from a 7-year-old who just wanted to help animals. She made a decision. She opened her favorite book and slipped the bookmark inside, right at her favorite poem, the one about choosing the path less traveled. Then she pulled out her phone and typed a message to Marcus. I'm sorry for the mess. I understand if you need distance, but I meant what I said. You're not a project. You're a person I care about. Both of you. She read it 3 times, then deleted it. Too much. Too soon. Too honest. Instead, she sent, Thank you for letting me be part of Mia's night. The bookmark is in my favorite book, exactly where it belongs. Simple, true, no pressure. She hit send before she could overthink it. 3 dots appeared immediately, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, a response. She'll be happy to hear that. Not warm, not cold. Just there. Lottie set down her phone and picked up the wine glass. She took a sip, then another, watching the city lights blur through sudden tears. She'd thought choosing to care about people would be simple. She was learning it was the hardest thing she'd ever done. Saturday morning arrived gray and drizzly. Lottie woke early, restless and unsure. She'd spent most of Friday night drafting and deleting texts to Marcus, trying to find words that wouldn't make things worse. By 9, she gave up on sleep and got dressed. Jeans, sneakers, a rain jacket. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the person staring back. Hair in a messy ponytail, no makeup, dressed for weather instead of photographs. Her mother would be appalled. The thought made her smile. She drove to Ash Street without planning to, without knowing what she'd say. Marcus's building looked quiet in the rain. A few people hurried in and out with umbrellas. Lottie parked across the street and sat, watching. At 9:30, the lobby door opened. Marcus came out, Mia beside him in her purple coat and rain boots. They walked toward the corner, hand in hand, not in any hurry. Lottie got out of her car. Marcus! He turned, surprised. Mia waved. Lottie jogged across the street, getting wet. Hi. Sorry, I wanted to talk, if that's okay. Marcus looked at her, really looked at her, taking in her soaked jacket, her nervous expression, the way she was wringing her hands. We're going to get muffins, he said carefully. Mia's favorite place, you remember? The one we were supposed to go to last week? Yeah, before the photo. He paused. You want to come? Relief flooded through her. If you're sure? I'm not sure about anything, Marcus said honestly. But Mia asked if you were coming, so maybe we try again. Mia tugged his hand. Can she, Daddy? Please? That's why I'm asking, baby. The little girl beamed at Lottie. You can sit next to me. They walked 3 blocks to a small bakery with steamed-up windows and the smell of fresh bread. Inside was warm and crowded with Saturday morning regulars. They found a small table near the back. Mia ordered a blueberry muffin, the biggest one, and hot chocolate. Marcus got coffee and a cranberry scone. Lottie ordered tea and a bran muffin she had no intention of eating. You don't have to order something you don't want, Marcus said. I like bran muffins. You're a terrible liar. Lottie laughed despite herself. Okay, fine, I hate bran muffins, but I didn't want to not order anything. Why? Because, she struggled for words. I don't know, it felt wrong. Lottie. Marcus's voice was gentle. Just be yourself, that's all we want. Their order arrived. Mia dove into her muffin with both hands, getting crumbs everywhere. Marcus sipped his coffee and watched his daughter with a small smile. I'm sorry about yesterday, Lottie said quietly. In the lobby, I shouldn't have just shown up like that. You were upset, I get it. But you were right. About the stories, about how this affects you both. She wrapped her hands around her tea mug. I've been thinking about what you said, about intent not mattering when the damage is done. I was angry. You had every right to be. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Mia hummed to herself, swinging her legs under the table. I talked to Mia's teacher yesterday afternoon, he said. Ms. Roberts, explain the situation, that you're a friend, that the articles are exaggerating everything. She apologized for the home situation comment. That's good. Yeah. He turned his coffee cup in circles. But it made me realize something. This is going to keep happening. Every time we're together in public, someone might take a photo, might write a story, might make assumptions. Lottie's stomach sank. So, you want to stop, I understand. I didn't say that. She looked up, surprised. I'm saying we need to decide, Marcus continued. Either we let other people's opinions control us, or we don't. Either we're friends, or we're not. But we can't keep half-stepping. What do you want? I want my daughter to have good people in her life. People who show up. People who keep their promises. He met her eyes. You bought her bookmark and put it in your favorite book. You drove here in the rain to apologize. That matters more than some headline. What about the next headline, and the one after that? We deal with them, together. He said it firmly, like he'd made a decision overnight. But no more favors I don't ask for. No surprise cars or arrangements or money. If you want to help, you ask first. Clear? Crystal clear. And no hiding. If we're going to be friends, we're friends. In public, in photos, whatever. I'm done pretending to care what strangers think. Lottie felt warmth spread through her chest. You're sure? I'm sure I'm tired of letting fear make my decisions. Marcus smiled, a real smile reaching his eyes. And Mia likes you. That's not something to give up easily. I like her too, both of you. Mia looked up from her muffin, chocolate on her chin. Are you guys done talking about boring stuff? Because I want to show Miss Lottie the park. Marcus laughed. Finish your muffin first. I am finished. She showed her empty plate proudly. And your hot chocolate. Mia drained her cup in 3 large gulps, then wiped her mouth with the back of her hand. Now, can we go? Now we can go? Outside, the rain had stopped. The sidewalks were slick and shiny. They walked to a small park 2 blocks away. Swings, slides, a climbing structure shaped like a castle. Mia ran ahead, her boots splashing in puddles. Marcus and Lottie followed at a slower pace. Thank you, Lottie said, for giving this another chance. Thank you for showing up. Marcus glanced at her. Again. At the park, Mia claimed the swings and demanded pushes. Lottie and Marcus took turns, sending her higher and higher until she shrieked with laughter. Higher! Higher! Any higher and you'll fly away, Marcus warned. Good! I want to fly! A few other families were at the park. Parents watching toddlers, an older couple walking a small dog. No one stared. No one took photos. It was just a normal Saturday morning. Lottie had never appreciated normal so much in her life. When Mia finally tired of the swings, she moved to the climbing castle. Marcus and Lottie sat on a bench nearby, watching her navigate the platforms and bridges. She's fearless, Lottie observed. Terrifying, actually. Last month, she tried to climb the building's fire escape. What did you do? Took her to a rock climbing gym the next weekend. Figured I'd rather she do it safely with supervision. Smart parenting. Desperate parenting, Marcus corrected, but he was smiling. Lottie's phone buzzed. She ignored it. It buzzed again. You can check it, Marcus said. It's just my mother and Tomas. They want to talk about... She gestured vaguely. All of this. You should probably call them back. I will, later. She silenced the phone completely. Right now, I'm exactly where I want to be. Marcus looked at her, really looked at her, and something shifted in his expression. Wariness giving way to cautious trust. Okay, he said softly. Me too. They sat in comfortable silence, watching Mia play, while the sun finally broke through the clouds and turned everything bright and new. 2 weeks passed in a gentle rhythm. Mia's art contest, the one Marcus had forgotten to submit the entry form for, came and went. Lottie helped him fill out the paperwork properly, and Mia won 3rd place. They celebrated with pizza on Marcus's apartment rooftop. Just the 3 of them, under string lights, Marcus's neighbor had hung years ago. Lottie met Amber and Vic, the couple from 3B who'd lived in the building for 15 years. She learned that Marcus fixed their sink every winter, and that Mia sometimes stayed with them when Marcus had emergency calls. They welcomed her with easy warmth, asking no questions about headlines or money. She learned that Marcus took his coffee black because milk upset his stomach. That Mia would only eat carrots if they were cut into coins, not sticks. That Thursday nights were library nights, and Saturday mornings were for the hardware store, where Marcus taught his daughter the names of tools she'd probably never need. Lottie stopped sending her driver away and simply stopped calling him. She wore jeans most days. She let her hair air dry. She started showing up to things, school pickups, grocery runs, the laundromat, not to help, but just to be there. Her mother stopped calling every day. Instead, Evelyn sent careful text messages. Hope you're well. And, Tomas showed me your work on the Cambridge project. Well done. Small things, but things. Then Friday came. Lottie arrived at Marcus's building at 6, carrying nothing but herself and a blanket she'd found in her car. The rooftop had become their place. Away from crowds, away from cameras, just sky and city lights and easy conversation. Marcus was already there, setting out paper plates. Mia sat cross-legged on the ground, drawing with her special pencils. You're late, Marcus said, but he was smiling. Traffic, sorry. Pizza's still hot. They ate while the sun set. Pepperoni for Marcus and Mia, vegetarian for Lottie. Mia told them about her week in great detail. The substitute teacher who let them have extra recess, the boy who brought a snake for show and tell, the art room getting new paints. And next Saturday is the park day with Mama, Mia said, suddenly serious. Marcus's expression tightened slightly. That's right. Lottie had heard about Kendra, Marcus's ex, Mia's mother, in pieces. A relationship that ended when Mia was 3. Kendra's struggle with stability. The custody arrangement that gave Marcus primary custody but allowed supervised visits. Are you nervous? Lottie asked Mia gently. A little. Mia picked at her pizza crust. I don't remember her very much. That's okay, Marcus said. She's excited to see you, and I'll be there the whole time. Can Miss Lottie come too? Marcus and Lottie exchanged glances. I don't think that's a good idea, baby, Marcus said carefully. That time should be for you and your mama. But what if it's weird? Then it's weird, and we handle it together. He smoothed her hair. But you don't need Miss Lottie there to be brave. You're already brave. Mia seemed to accept this. She finished her pizza and returned to her drawing. After dinner, Mia fell asleep under a quilt, her pencils scattered around her. Marcus and Lottie sat against the wall, shoulders touching, talking quietly about nothing important. Thank you for these last couple weeks, Marcus said, for just being normal. Normal is underrated. Most people don't think so. Most people want excitement, drama. I've had enough drama for a lifetime. He laughed softly. Yeah, me too. Lottie leaned her head against his shoulder. He didn't pull away. Next Saturday, she said, after Mia sees her mom, maybe we could all get dinner? Celebrate her? Being brave? She'd like that. What about you? Would you like that? Marcus was quiet for a moment. Yeah, I would. Something warm and certain settled in Lottie's chest. This was what choosing felt like, not the big dramatic moments, just quiet yeses on rooftops under stars. I almost forgot. Lottie reached into her jacket pocket and pulled out a small envelope. Mia's art contest entry form came back. They sent this with it. Marcus took the envelope and opened it. Inside was the form, a printed flyer about next year's contest, and $25 in cash. The entry fee he'd mentioned needing to cover. You didn't have to do this, he said. I know, but the fee was due tomorrow, and I know you've been busy with work. It's just $25, Marcus. Not charity, just practical. He looked at the cash, then at her. Thank you. You're welcome. He tucked the envelope in his jacket pocket, then checked his phone. We should head down soon. Mia has an early soccer game tomorrow. They gathered the plates and blanket carefully, trying not to wake Mia. Marcus scooped up his daughter easily. She mumbled something in her sleep and nestled against his shoulder. They took the stairs down slowly, Lottie leading with the blanket and leftover pizza. As they reached the third-floor landing, Lottie heard footsteps below. A man with a camera. He saw them and raised it immediately. The flash went off once, twice. Marcus turned, shielding Mia's face. Just a few questions, the man said. About your relationship. No comment, Marcus said firmly. Is it true Miss Winfield is financially supporting? No comment. We're going inside. Lottie moved between Marcus and the photographer. You need to leave. This is private property. Public interest? Private property, Lottie repeated, her voice hard. Leave now, or I call the police. The man hesitated, then retreated down the stairs. They heard the lobby door slam. Marcus was breathing hard, Mia stirring in his arms. I'm sorry, Lottie said immediately. I don't know how he found us. It's not your fault. It feels like it is. They continued down to Marcus's apartment. Inside, he laid Mia on the couch and covered her with the blanket. She didn't fully wake, just curled into a ball. Lottie set down the pizza and turned to Marcus. Are you okay? Yeah, just... He ran a hand over his face. I thought we were past this. The photos, the stalking. Me too. That guy will probably post those pictures, write some story about what we were doing up there. Let him. We weren't doing anything wrong. Lottie. Marcus's voice was strained. That envelope. In the photo, it's going to look like... Like what? Like I handed you money? She shook her head. So what? It was $25 for Mia's art contest. Anyone who actually cares will understand that. You don't know what people will say? I don't care what people say. I do. The words came out sharp. I care because it affects Mia. Because it affects how people see me, how they see us. Lottie felt her chest tighten. You're right. I'm sorry. I should have just given you the envelope earlier, not on the roof where someone could... It's not about the envelope. Marcus's voice gentled. It's about all of it. The attention, the assumptions. I knew it would be hard, but I didn't think it would follow us onto my own roof. They stood in his small living room, Mia sleeping peacefully between them, and Lottie felt the weight of everything pressing down. Do you want me to go? She asked quietly. Marcus looked at her for a long moment. No, I don't want you to go. I just want... He trailed off, searching for words. I want to be angry at the situation without you thinking I'm angry at you. Okay, be angry. I can handle that. Can you? Yes. She said it firmly. Because I'm not going anywhere, not unless you tell me to. Something shifted in his expression. Relief, maybe, or trust beginning to take root. Stay, he said. Just for a bit, until I calm down. They sat on opposite ends of the couch, Mia between them, and watched her sleep. After a while, Marcus's breathing slowed. His shoulders dropped. I'm sorry I snapped, he said. Don't be. You had every right. Still, you were just trying to help with the contest form. I should have asked first. That was our rule. Yeah, it was. He looked at her across his sleeping daughter. But thank you anyway, for thinking of it. Lottie nodded, not trusting her voice. They sat in comfortable silence until Mia started to stir. Marcus carried her to her bedroom while Lottie cleaned up the pizza boxes. When he returned, she was standing by the door with her jacket on. I should go, she said. Okay. Text me tomorrow. Let me know how the game goes. I will. She started to leave, then turned back. Marcus, whatever that photo looks like, whatever story they write, it doesn't change what actually happened. We had pizza with Mia. We talked about normal things. That's the truth. I know. Do you? He crossed the small space between them and took her hand, just held it for a moment, warm and solid. I know, he said again, and I'm choosing to believe that truth matters more than stories. Even when it's hard? Especially when it's hard. Lottie squeezed his hand, then let go. She walked down to her car feeling unsettled, but not hopeless. They'd figure this out. They had to. Behind her, in the warm light of his apartment, Marcus stood at the window and watched her drive away, the envelope still in his pocket, and wondered if choosing love meant choosing chaos too. Saturday morning, Lottie woke to her phone exploding with notifications. The photo was everywhere. Marcus on the rooftop stairs, Mia in his arms, Lottie beside them. And in his hand, clearly visible, the envelope. The headline, Heiress pays him. Rooftop rendezvous or pay out. The article spun it every possible way: financial support, secret arrangement, the suggestion that Marcus was dependent on her money, that their entire relationship was transactional. Lottie threw her phone across the room. It rang a moment later. She retrieved it and saw Tomas's name. "I know," she said without greeting. "Your mother wants to release a statement, now." "No? Lottie, this is bad. Really bad. They're saying—" "I don't care what they're saying. It was $25 for a contest entry fee. That's it. The optics are wrong, but I'm not going to release some sanitized statement that makes Marcus sound like my employee or my charity project." Her voice rose. "He's not. He's my friend. Maybe more than that. And I'm not apologizing for caring about him." Silence on the line. "Maybe more than that?" Tomas repeated carefully. Lottie closed her eyes. "I don't know. Maybe. It's complicated." "It's going to get more complicated. Your mother is calling a family meeting tonight." "Fine. I'll be there." "Lottie?" "I'll be there," she repeated, "but I'm not changing my mind." She hung up and immediately called Marcus. Straight to voicemail. She tried again. Same result. She texted, "I'm so sorry. Call me when you can." No response. She paced her apartment for an hour, checking her phone every 30 seconds. Finally, she couldn't stand it anymore. She grabbed her keys and drove to Ash Street. The building looked quiet. She knocked on Marcus's door. No answer. She knocked again, then heard footsteps. The door opened 6 inches, the chain still on. Marcus stood on the other side, and his face stopped her cold. "You need to go," he said. "Marcus, please, let me explain." "Explain what? That you gave me money and someone photographed it?" "I know what happened, Lottie. I was there." "It was just the entry fee. You know that." "I know that. You know that. But everyone else sees something different." His voice was carefully controlled. "My super called me this morning. Asked if I was handling my finances responsibly. My neighbor, the one who always says hi to Mia, crossed the street when she saw us." Lottie felt sick. "I'm so sorry." "I told you I couldn't be your project. I told you that stories stick." He gripped the edge of the door. "And now that's exactly what I am. The guy who takes money from the rich woman." "That's not true." "But that's what they see, and I can't—" His voice cracked slightly. "I can't keep doing this. Every time we're together, someone's watching. Someone's judging, and Mia's in the middle of it." "So what are you saying?" Marcus closed his eyes briefly, then met her gaze. "I'm saying I need space. Time to think. Time to figure out how to protect my daughter from this." "By pushing me away?" "By choosing her first." The words hit like a physical blow. Lottie stepped back from the door. "I understand," she managed. "I do. Mia comes first. She should." "I'm sorry." "Don't be. You're being a good father." Her voice shook. That's what I care about. That you're a good father." She turned to leave, then remembered. "The park. Tomorrow. With Kendra. Do you still want—" "I'll handle it alone," Marcus said quietly. "But thank you." Lottie nodded, not trusting herself to speak. She walked away with her vision blurring, past the mailboxes, through the lobby, into the harsh morning light. She sat in her car and let herself cry for exactly 3 minutes. Then she dried her eyes, started the engine, and drove home to prepare for the battle with her mother. Because if Marcus needed space, she'd give it to him. But she wasn't giving up. Not on him. Not on Mia. Not on the possibility that truth could outlast lies. She just had to figure out how. That night, Lottie sat at her family's dining table across from her mother and Tomas. The room felt cold despite the fireplace. Evelyn spoke first. This has gone too far. I agree, Lottie said calmly. Her mother blinked, surprised. You do? Yes. The tabloids have gone too far. The photographers stalking us have gone too far. The assumptions and the lies have gone too far. That's not what I meant. I know what you meant, Mother. You meant I've gone too far. That I should have listened to you weeks ago and ended this before it became complicated. Lottie folded her hands on the table. But I don't regret it, any of it. Even now? After this morning's disaster? Especially now. Evelyn's expression hardened. You're being foolish, Charlotte. This man has a name, Marcus Reed, and his daughter is Mia. Lottie's voice stayed level. And they're good people who deserve better than to be reduced to headlines and assumptions. That may be true, but your association with them is damaging the family reputation. Then maybe our reputation needs some damage. Silence fell over the table. Tomas cleared his throat. Lottie, I understand what you're trying to do. I do. But there are better ways. Are there? She turned to him. Tell me, Tomas, what's the better way? Release a statement saying Marcus is just a casual acquaintance? That I barely know him? That would be a lie. Or maybe we explain that he's a hard-working single father, and I admire his character? That sounds condescending. Or, here's a thought. We could tell the truth. That I care about him and his daughter, and what anyone else thinks about it doesn't matter. The truth isn't always strategic, Tomas said carefully. Maybe strategy isn't always right. Evelyn stood up. I've heard enough. Charlotte, you have two choices. End this relationship, friendship, whatever you want to call it, and let it fade quietly. Or continue, and accept that you'll be doing so without family support. Lottie looked at her mother, really looked at her. She saw worry beneath the anger, fear beneath the control. A woman who'd built her entire life on maintaining appearances and couldn't understand someone who'd choose differently. I love you, Mother, Lottie said softly. But I can't choose the way you want. Me too. Evelyn's expression flickered. Surprise? Hurt? Something else Lottie couldn't name. Then we have nothing more to discuss. Evelyn walked out of the room, her heels clicking on the hardwood. Tomas gathered his papers. For what it's worth, I think you're brave. Stupid maybe, but brave. Is there a difference? Usually no. He paused at the door. But sometimes the stupid brave thing is the right thing. I hope this is one of those times. After he left, Lottie sat alone in the dining room and let the silence settle over her. She'd chosen. Marcus had asked for space, but she'd chosen anyway. Now she just had to prove that the choice mattered. Sunday morning, Marcus stood in the park with Mia's hand in his and watched Kendra walk toward them. She looked different, healthier, more put together. Her hair was styled, her clothes clean and neat. She carried a small gift bag. Hi, Marcus, she said, her voice cautious. Kendra. She crouched down to Mia's level. Hi, baby. Do you remember me? Mia pressed against Marcus's leg. A little. That's okay. We can get to know each other again. Kendra held out the gift bag. I brought you something. Mia took it carefully and pulled out a sketchbook, spiral bound, thick paper, perfect for her pencils. For your drawings, Kendra said. Your dad told me you're an artist. I am. Mia's voice was still guarded, but she hugged the sketchbook to her chest. Thank you. They found a bench. Marcus sat close enough to supervise, but far enough to give them space. He watched Kendra try, really try, to connect with their daughter. She asked about school, about art club, about Mia's favorite things. Mia answered carefully, warming slowly, testing boundaries. After an hour, Kendra walked them back to where they'd started. She knelt down again. Can I hug you? She asked Mia. Mia glanced at Marcus. He nodded. The hug was brief but real. When they separated, Kendra's eyes were wet. Can I see you again? She asked. In 2 weeks, maybe? Mia considered. Okay, but Daddy has to be there. I understand. After Kendra left, Marcus and Mia walked home slowly. Mia flipped through her new sketchbook, already planning drawings. That wasn't so bad, she said. No, it wasn't. She seemed nice. She's trying, baby. That's good. Back at the apartment, Mia settled on the couch with her new sketchbook and her special pencils. Marcus made lunch, grilled cheese and tomato soup, while his mind replayed the morning. Kendra had done well, better than he'd expected. But through it all, he'd thought about Lottie, about her absence, about the space he'd asked for feeling more like a chasm than a break. His phone buzzed, a text from Amber upstairs. Someone left something at your door. Marcus opened the apartment door and found a small package wrapped in brown paper. No name, just a note in handwriting he recognized. For Mia's collection. No strings, no expectations. Just because she's wonderful. Inside was a wooden box, simple, unfinished, the kind meant for a child to paint, perfect for storing pencils and small treasures. Marcus carried it inside and showed Mia. It's from Miss Lottie, Mia exclaimed. Can I paint it? Yeah, baby, you can paint it. While Mia examined her new box, planning colors, Marcus picked up his phone. He stared at Lottie's contact information for a long time. Then he typed, "Thank you for the box. Mia loves it. Can we talk?" The response came within seconds. Anytime. I'm here. Marcus looked at his daughter, happily sketching designs for her box. He thought about Kendra's tentative return, about the photographers and the headlines and the constant pressure. And then he thought about Lottie sitting with Mia at the food trucks, about her buying the $3 bookmark and treating it like treasure, about her showing up on rooftops and in rain and at school gyms, about her choosing them over and over, even when it cost her. He made a decision. Tomorrow evening, after I pick up Mia from school, I'll be there. Marcus set down his phone and watched his daughter draw, and for the first time since Friday night, he felt like maybe, just maybe, choosing love didn't mean choosing chaos. Maybe it just meant choosing to be brave. Monday evening, Lottie waited at the bench near Marcus's building, the same bench where they'd first set boundaries weeks ago. The air was cool, the sun low, the neighborhood settling into dinner hour. She saw them coming from half a block away. Mia ran ahead, her backpack bouncing, then launched herself at Lottie for a hug. Miss Lottie, you're back! I'm back. Lottie held her tight. I missed you, kiddo. I missed you too. Want to see my new sketchbook? Mama gave it to me. I'd love to. Marcus caught up, slightly breathless. He met Lottie's eyes, and she saw apology there, and hope. Hi, he said. Hi. Mia showed off her sketchbook page by page, the drawings she'd started, the plans she had for the box Lottie had left. She talked about meeting her mama, about how it was weird but okay, about the next visit in 2 weeks. Marcus and Lottie let her talk, just listening, until she finally wore herself out and went to play on the nearby swings. I'm sorry, Marcus said immediately, for Saturday, for pushing you away. You were protecting Mia, I understand. I was scared, he corrected. Scared that being with you meant constant chaos, that Mia would get hurt, that I'd lose control of my own life. And now? Now I'm still scared, but I'm more scared of losing what we have because I was too afraid to fight for it. Lottie felt tears prick her eyes. I talked to my mother. She basically said, choose you or choose the family. Marcus's face fell. Lottie, I chose you. She said it simply. Both of you. Because you're worth choosing. Because what we have, this normal, ordinary thing, matters more than reputation or appearances or any of it. That's a big choice. It's the only choice. They sat on the bench, watching Mia swing, while the evening light turned everything gold. I don't know how to make the headlines stop, Marcus admitted, or how to protect us from photographers and gossip. Neither do I, but I know how to keep showing up, how to tell the truth, how to let the people who actually matter, Mia, you, the neighbors who know us, see what's real. And if the rest of the world doesn't, then they don't. Lottie looked at him. I'm tired of living for people who only see what they want to see. I'd rather live for people who see me clearly and choose to stay anyway. Marcus reached over and took her hand, just held it, warm and certain. Then let's try, he said. For real this time. No more half-stepping. No more letting fear decide. Together? Together? Mia ran over, breathless and happy. Can we get pizza? I'm starving. Always pizza with you, Marcus said, but he was smiling. Pizza is the best food, Mia declared. They walked toward the corner pizzeria, all three of them, Marcus holding Mia's hand, Lottie beside them. No cameras flashed, no one stared. It was just a Monday evening in early spring, ordinary and perfect. At the pizza place, they squeezed into a booth. Mia immediately pulled out her crayons and started drawing on the paper tablecloth. Marcus ordered while Lottie helped Mia sketch a garden scene. Miss Lottie? Mia said, not looking up from her drawing. Yeah? Are you going to stay now? For real? Lottie glanced at Marcus. He gave a small nod. Yeah, kiddo, Lottie said, her throat tight. For real. Good. Mia added a son to her garden. Because you're our person now. Your person? Uh-huh. Like how Daddy is my person and Mama is my person, but different. You're like... She struggled for words. You're like family, friend, person. The good kind. Marcus laughed softly. Family, friend, person. I like that. Me too, Lottie whispered. The pizza arrived. Large, hot, perfect. They ate and talked and laughed. And when they were done, Mia carefully folded her drawing and tucked it into her backpack. That's for my room, she explained. So, I remember tonight. Outside, the streetlights flickered on. They walked back to Marcus's building through the gentle evening, and when they reached the courtyard, Lottie noticed something new. The neighbors had hung more string lights, a web of them between the buildings, turning the whole space warm and welcoming. Amber and Vic sat on folding chairs with lemonade. Mrs. Chen from 4B waved from her window. Welcome back, Lottie, Amber called. We were hoping you'd come around again. Marcus looked surprised. You all knew she was coming? We have eyes, Vic said with a grin. And we're not blind. Mia ran to show Amber her drawing. Marcus pulled Lottie aside, his voice low. They knew, he said. They were waiting for you. Is that okay? It's better than okay. He looked at the lights, the neighbors, his daughter laughing with people who cared about her. It's home. Later, after Mia went to bed and the neighbors drifted back to their apartments, Marcus and Lottie stood in the courtyard under the string lights. What happens next? Lottie asked. I don't know. Probably more photos, more headlines, more people with opinions about us. Sounds exhausting. Probably will be. Marcus turned to face her fully. But we'll handle it, one day at a time, one choice at a time. Together? Together. He leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. The kiss was soft and certain, tasting like possibility and pepperoni pizza. When they separated, both were smiling. So, Marcus said, family friend person? I think I'm okay with that title. Good, because Mia's never wrong about people. They stood in the courtyard, wrapped in warm light and warmer promises, while above them the city stretched out vast and indifferent. But here, in this small space with these ordinary people, they'd built something the headlines couldn't touch. They'd built home. And that, Lottie thought, was worth every risk she'd taken to find it. 3 months later, the hardware store on Saturday morning had become ritual. Marcus explaining bolt sizes while Mia counted nails into a bag, and Lottie learned the difference between flathead and Phillips screwdrivers. "You're a terrible student," Marcus teased as she held up a wrench. "This is a hammer, right?" "That's it. You're fired from tool learning." Mia giggled from the next aisle over. "Miss Lottie, you're so bad at this." "I know," Lottie called back. "It's tragic." They bought what they needed, supplies for a shelf Marcus was building in Mia's room, and stopped at the laundromat on the way home because Marcus's washer had finally died. "I should probably replace it," he said, loading quarters into the machine. "Or," Lottie suggested, "we could do laundry here sometimes. I kind of like it." "You like the laundromat?" "I like the time, the sitting around waiting, the folding together." She shrugged. "It's nice." He looked at her like she'd said something profound instead of deeply weird. "Yeah, it is." At the apartment, they built the shelf together. Mia handed them screws and offered color commentary. A small grease smudge ended up on Lottie's cheek. Marcus wiped it away with his thumb, gentle and familiar. "You're a mess," he said. "I'm learning." When the shelf was up, slightly crooked but sturdy, Mia arranged her special pencils and her painted box on top. The $3 bookmark sat propped against the box, on display like treasure. Lottie pulled out her phone and took a photo. Not for social media, just for herself. Then, on impulse, she sent it to her mother with a simple caption. "Good afternoon, Mom." She didn't expect a response, but 5 minutes later, her phone buzzed. "Lovely. The shelf is charming, if imperfect. Perhaps dinner next week? I'd like to meet them properly." Lottie showed Marcus the text, her hand shaking slightly. "Your mother wants to meet us?" he asked carefully. "Seems like it." "Are you ready for that?" "I don't know. Are you?" Marcus looked at Mia, happily arranging her shelf. He looked at the apartment they'd spent the morning making more hers. He looked at Lottie, paint-stained, grease-smudged, smiling like she'd won something. "Yeah," he said. "I think I am." That evening, they ate simple dinner in Marcus's small kitchen, pasta and salad and garlic bread. Soft music played from Marcus's phone. Mia colored at the table, humming to herself. Lottie looked at the bookmark on the fridge, held up by a magnet shaped like a cat. She looked at the painted box visible through Mia's doorway. She looked at Marcus stirring sauce, and Mia's bent head, and the kitchen light making everything warm. This was what she'd chosen. This ordinary, imperfect, beautiful life. And she'd choose it again, every single time. "Miss Lottie?" Mia said, looking up from her coloring. "Yeah, kiddo?" "Next Saturday, can we go back to the muffin place? I want to show them my new drawings." "Absolutely." "And then the park?" "Sure." "And then pizza?" Marcus laughed. "Everything always ends with pizza." "Because pizza is perfect," Mia said seriously. "Like us." She said it so simply, so matter-of-factly, that both adults stopped and looked at each other. Like us. Not perfect, but perfect enough. And in Marcus's small kitchen, with the kettle starting to whistle and laughter bubbling up between them, that felt like more than enough. It felt like everything. The end.